Hi, I'm Hasan Dudar, editor of the Independent Collegian. Welcome to our wonderful newsroom. I'm here with SG President Matt Rubin, and this is the first of a weekly installment with me and Matt discussing new developments in SG.
All right, well, thank you so much for having me. It's really a pleasure to be here in the offices of the Independent Collegian. I'm really proud of some of the changes that we've had in student government this year, especially in conjunction with the Independent Collegian. We've partnered up on a few different things, and it's really great to be here. And as always, we want to promote readership of the Collegian because it's so important that students know what goes on campus. So I want to do whatever I can to be as transparent as possible and make sure students know that student government's here for them, and so is the Collegian, that we're both service organizations, and that's really important.
Thank you, Matt. All right, would you like to start off by telling us some new developments with SG?
Sure. Well, student government has been going full steam ahead this year. One of the things that we've been working on is our Student Senate passed some legislation to launch an investigation into the bus loop system that we have. We have the blue and gold loops. We've been getting a few complaints from students as far as the timetables matching up and a few stop issues. So our safety director on cabinet, Patrick Harvey, has started the investigation. He has sat down with Steve Wise and Chuck Leonard of the Transportation Department. We're now moving into phase 2 of that process, which is going to include a ride-along investigation and also a survey process, so we can find out, exactly what the issues are, so we can present some solutions.
What is that ride-along investigation going to look like? Could you take the viewers through that?
Sure. Well, we're going to have a few cabinet members as well as other volunteers that are basically going to have a survey to fill out. Is the bus on time? Is it stopping where they're supposed to stop? Have I had to wait long? Anything out of the ordinary that isn't going as it should be. We want to make sure we can have some hard data on paper, so we can really analyze what the major key issues are, and we can attack that and really help out the university.
Has there been student complaints about the bus convenience?
Yes, there have, and that's pretty much been the driving factor. So this is something that I'm really proud of, because it's really the first time that we're going to get to see student government as a whole work together and solve some problems. Because in the past we've had student senate write legislation and have their own agenda, and cabinets had their own agenda, and it's never really worked out. So in this case, the students came to the student senate with these problems. Student senate presented it as legislation, and now our cabinet is taking over and really making it happen.
Was it ever like this before with the complaints on the buses? I know that it changed last year to gold loop, blue loop.
That's right.
And then it was kind of one of the routes would go this way, the other route would go that way. But before it wasn't like that.
Right.
So is this because of the change, you think, or is it just in the bus system in general?
Yeah, I think it's just the nature of the beast. It's hard to run so many buses on campus and make it all work perfectly. But I think the safety department is happy to have the feedback, and they obviously want it to be the best it can be for students.
Is there any feedback that they get themselves internally that you guys can go off of in terms of how many riders?
Yes, they do.
Okay.
Every bus driver records how many students get on and get off at any given time, so that data is going to be extremely valuable to us during the investigation.
Where is that data available? Is it available for any student?
I believe it is. Steve Wise and his crew over there, they're really good about being open with students, and we've had several conversations, and they have a great team over there, and they're more than willing to help out.
All right. Now, you mentioned before the interview something about online grade posting. Would you like to tell our readers more about that?
Definitely. This was a resolution passed by Student Senate last week, and basically the gist of it is that it's a resolution to suggest a better utilization of the online grade forums that are available through all classes. You log on to MyUT, you have the My Courses button. Every class that you take has that. So they have the opportunity where they can post grades as often as they like. However, most professors do not. So we identified a problem because if a student is looking to withdraw from a class and they don't even really know what grade they have, it's going to be difficult for them, and we want to make sure students have that opportunity to know what grade they have at all times. A lot of high schools do this, and we had some students say, when I came to college, I figured since everything's a lot more tech savvy that they'd have that, but we've had the problem that there's not, and a student can never really know what their grade is at any given time, and we're not asking for professors to every grade you get have it posted online, because that is a lot to ask, but at least 3 times throughout the semester we would like a grade update. So what we're doing is we're taking that resolution, we're sitting down with Kay Patton Wallace as well as the provost, Dr. Bill McMillan, and we're going to figure out some solutions and just make a formal suggestion to Faculty Senate, and hopefully they'll be receptive, and I think it's something that students want, and it will definitely be a big help to them.
Some professors already do that, so why can't a student just go up to a professor if they feel like they need to drop it and just ask him? Can that be some type of policy? Maybe have like a weekly meeting or a midterm meeting with a professor rather than have a whole online system? Are there any other alternatives to this?
You know, we haven't really discussed the other alternatives, but basically it's taking the technology that we have now and putting it to use, and just making a solid policy out of it. And you know, some professors do it all the time and some don't do it at all. So we just kind of want to make a standard where, you know, if a professor wants to post every single grade you get online, like, fantastic. But at least there's a minimum where students can always understand where they are at a class, in a certain class that they're taking.
Will this be through UTAD, so you can log in through your, you know, UTID, or is it going to be a different system?
We're thinking through UTAD, through the resources that we already have. So, you know, we're not looking to add any cost. And again, student government doesn't have the power to mandate these type of things. So as the voice of the students, this is just a suggestion that we are bringing up, and it's going to be faculty and the provost that are going to be able to push this through, hopefully.
What does that process look like? Because I don't think the average reader or the average viewer will know what that process looks like to get something passed through student government. So would you like to?
Sure. It's actually a fairly easy process. Right now we have about 30 to 40 senators in our student senate. We are always looking for more senators, so we can cap out at 50. So if you're listening out there and you are interested in becoming a student senator and representing your fellow students, please send me an email. Go to utoledo.edu/SG, and you can check out that we have a forum. But basically, you can sit down with one of the committees. We have several committees, including student safety, academic affairs, things like that. You can bring the ideas in, and we have a model so you can draft legislation to solve the problem, and it can go through a few committees first, and then it's brought in front of the entire student senate. And from there it can be critiqued and debated until we get it just what we need to, and then after that it lands on my desk and it becomes my responsibility to take care of that.
All right, and then you take it to provost or?
Yep, yeah, whoever it may be. I sit down with my cabinet, we decide the best direction to take it.
All right, how about making a bike-friendly campus? This was one of your biggest campaign platforms. So what are you doing this year to deliver on that?
Well, we've had a lot of great steps in the right direction. We just had the ribbon cutting on the new bike corral, which is down by the West Ramp parking garage, and we'd like to see that utilized more. It's a really great system that they have set up. It's an enclosed area where you swipe in with your card. There are lockers for your helmets. In the future, they're looking at installing air compressors as well as water fountains where you can fill a water bottle, and campus maps of the bike trails and things like that will be there at some point. We're also looking to expand the bike pad program to around McMaster Hall and the business center. So that's something we're looking at. As far as student government, we have put together a committee headed up by Karen Gallagher, who's a PhD student studying healthy modes of transportation. So it's really great. I mean, we have somebody that would get hired to do something like this, you know, in the real world. So she's working with her own committee with Eta Sigma Gamma, which is a public health honor society on campus. So it's great to have that help. And they're also working with the geography and planning department. So what they're doing right now is they're dividing the campus up into quadrants and looking at the maps, and they're creating a survey tool that they're going to use to evaluate the campus's walkability and bikeability. After they do that, they are going to search for grants and also create a focus group where they can find out exactly what the problems are on campus as far as bikeability and walkability and the best ways to solve them. The goal is to have all these completed by October 23rd. We're then going to move on to a social marketing campaign, encouraging people not to drive their cars between different parking lots. You know, if you're going to park somewhere, just, you know, stay parked. It's going to make it easier for you if you walk. You know, not only is it healthier, but it's going to be easier for you to get around campus.
So this is going to be done in October, you said?
Yes, the October 23rd is our deadline right now for the campus survey and walkability.
So winter time's almost here. You know, how are you guys going to keep this going throughout the winter time? Because I know barely anybody rides their bike during the winter time, you know, in our frigid winters. So how is SG going to maintain this policy and maintain this marketing strategy through the winter time? Because, you know, in the spring, in the summer, in the early fall, a lot of bikers, but during the winter time, it's not as many bikers.
Exactly, and the other arm of this is the work that we're doing with the bus loops, and we want to make sure those are, you know, as efficient as possible. And when it's snowing out, when it's dangerous, you know, even to drive your car, I think it's great that we do have these bus systems on campus that can get you from building to building, which is why I think the investigation that we're doing right now is so key, because we can get involved in that process and make sure that they're running smoothly, that students aren't going to be late for classes because of late buses, things like that.
So what are the different quadrants? by the way?
They're basically going to be set up into the residence life, certain buildings, colleges, engineering, different areas of campus that can be evaluated. I guess, say we take one day to do this quadrant, another day to do this one, and we can evaluate each one.
Do you ever foresee it going to the other campuses, to Scott Park, to health science?
Absolutely. We're working right now with Matt Schroeder in the UT Foundation. They're working on purchasing the land along Dorr Street and a couple other things. We're working on a Rails to Trails program, which would eventually connect Scott Park and the University of Toledo campus with the old railroad track that used to be there that was recently taken out.
The one on Douglas?
That's right.
Parallel to Douglas. Okay.
So we figure if we can create a bike path, a walkability path, using that existing rail line that's now removed, that's going to be the best option in taking down those barriers and making it so students can ride their bikes to the other campus.
Right. Also, it's election season, and I know that SG has been working with other student organizations to man a voter registration drive. How's that been going? It's
been going really well. I'm really proud of the strides that we've made in collaborating. We've collaborated with the college Republicans and the college Democrats in order to do this voter registration drive, and we did it all last week during homecoming week, and things were a little hectic, but they were all due this past Monday, so that was pretty fun. Got to go downtown and to the government center and drop them off, so it's great that we got some more Rockets registered to vote. And basically to get students more politically active on campus. I know you guys had an article this past week about kind of a slump in activism, and it's something important to me because I'm a pretty politically minded person. So it's great that students can have that opportunity to register, and it's not just being done by one group or the other. It's done by a lot of people, and we're all showing the same signs of support for what we all want.